AITA for refusing to thank my SILCause she had to babysit her own kids? My 22F brother, 35M, surprised me 6 months ago by planning a trip to Scotland for my birthday. He knew I've never traveled before and wanted to take me to my dream country. Due to tight finances, it was just the two of us, which I was okay with since at the time him and I were close. For context, my brother is married and has 2 kids under 6. His wife, 34F, had said she was happy for me and didn't mind holding down the fort for a week while we're on the trip. Her and I have never been close and quite frankly just tolerate each other for the sake of keeping the peace. She's never been a fan of how close my siblings are with each other. It all comes down to growing up in different family dynamics. Anyway, the trip was amazing and I loved every second of it. I was on such a high when we came back that I thanked my brother so many times for doing this for me until he told me to shut up. LOL. I thought everything was good and we resumed our lives normally. Imagine my surprise when I get a text 3 days after coming back from my SIL telling me off and calling me rude and ungrateful cause I didn't send her a text thanking her for babysitting on her own and having to do everything around her house for a whole week while I had fun with her husband. Yup, that's exactly how she worded it. I was flabbergasted. This is the same woman who smiled and told me to have fun on my trip, and now she's berating me for not thanking her for doing me a favor by taking care of her kids for a week. Am I crazy or is that totally irrational and just weird? I told her I'm not sure taking care of your own children is babysitting or doing someone else a favor, and she blew up at me calling me a terrible ungrateful brat and that I never show appreciation for anything. I was so confused by all of this and called my brother, but he doubled down and told me the trip wouldn't have been possible had she not volunteered to take care of their kids so we can have fun and that I should be thanking her for doing it for me. I was and still am confused on why I need to thank a mother for taking care of her own kids? Anyway, to keep the peace I told her thanks for doing it, but she decided I wasn't being sincere and convinced my brother to go low contact with me. My siblings and my mom were confused by all of this but keep telling me to just bite my tongue and not stir the pot any further, but I'm just hurt and confused. My relationship with my brother has been strained since and it's taking a toll on me. I just need outside opinions cause I'm genuinely confused on whether or not I'm the a-hole in this whole mess. This is my first time posting and English is not my first language, so excuse any errors. Edit. I can't reply to everyone, so let me clear up a few things I feel I should have included. They do not share finances. She has never spent any money on anything related to me. Also, last year she took a trip with her siblings abroad as well, and no, I don't know if her siblings thanked my brother for watching his kids. Finances were tight as in my brother was paying out of his own pocket and wouldn't have been able to take anyone else with us, plus this trip was a birthday gift, not a family trip, so no one expected to join. I did thank them both when I was first told about the trip, and I asked my brother if he was sure it was okay for us to go, and he assured me we were set and I only needed to have fun. I later learned that she didn't contribute anything to the trip and said she wouldn't have wanted to take a trip with me anyway. Hope this clears some things up. Update. Thank you to everyone for the insight on my previous post. The post kinda blew up in a way I wasn't expecting and the responses were overwhelming, but I now understand that I did not react correctly to her texts. This is a long update since a lot has happened. To clear up a few things before I continue with the update. A lot of you are fixated on the fact that I said finances are tight. I didn't mean their overall finances. They have separate finances, and from my understanding, they only share finances when it comes to their household and kids. Anything else they pay from their own pockets and don't interfere in what they spend their money on as long as the kids are good and household is running smoothly. So since my brother was paying for this trip on his own, he couldn't take many people with him as that would put a bigger financial burden on his personal savings. They're doing fine financially. They take family trips once a year. I did thank them both when I was initially told about the trip. My SIL later made a snide comment about how this was all my brother and she didn't contribute to the trip at all. Last year SIL and her siblings went on their own trip while my brother took care of everything and he was fine with it. My family dynamic is apparently confusing you guys, but we're 5 siblings that are very close and hang out regularly and have a close bond with our mom, especially since our dad passed away. We are from an Asian country and the culture here and the bonds between families are different from the West. To those who said maybe she's salty I'm getting a trip when I've never helped them out, I babysat my SIL's babies for 5 days a week for months each time her maternity leave ended, and each time they stopped needing me to help out only my brother thanks me, and that's fine with me. SIL has never thanked me or my siblings for anything we do for them. She says the fact that we're so eager and willing to drop everything to take care of each other is weird and unhealthy. I did thank her once I realized I should just keep the peace and tell her what she wanted to hear. Still, she didn't accept my thank you after I made the babysitting your own kids comment. I understand I was an AH for saying that now since a lot of you have pointed out that it was rude and that I'm not a mother and don't get it, but to be fair her texts were full of insults. She kept doubling down on the fact that she was stuck babysitting because of me. Many of you asked why I wasn't offered the ticket and went on my own. In our culture, women, especially young ones, don't travel on their own without either a family member or their husbands. It's not about control but more out of protection for us, so going on my own wouldn't have been an option. On to the update. Strap in, this is a long one. So I talked with my mum to better understand the situation, since many of you said I'm not a mother and don't get it, and she said my Sil worded it wrong, but maybe she just wanted gratitude for helping my brother out cause being a parent isn't easy. I understand that I reacted to her messages wrong when I could have just said a simple thank you. But neither I or my mum understand why she was so aggressive towards me in her texts. The aggression is what made me become so defensive. I found out from my siblings and my mum that my brother only paid for the tickets and the accommodations, and that my eldest brother is the one that provided the pocket money for food and buying stuff on the trip. And that my siblings chipped in but didn't want the credit since my brother wanted this trip to be like a thank you for helping them out so much with their kids over the years, and that he had cleared it with his wife and she had given him the go-ahead. She also told me that he had asked Sil if she wanted to come with us on the trip and leave their kids with my mum, who was fine with that, but she declined as she and I aren't close and it would have been weird for the both of us. My mum told me that my brother actually asked her to check in every day with Sil to make sure all was well and to see if she needed anything. She also said my brother asked Sil's sisters to check on her as well. It turns out Sil had taken the week off of work. I didn't know that, and for 4 out of the 7 days we were in Scotland she dropped her kids off at my mum's, and the other 3 days when my mum called Sil said she had her sisters with her and didn't need any help, so what the hell was she so mad about? It's clear to me that she wasn't abandoned by my brother as some of you suggested. My siblings initially wanted to just keep the peace, but after I showed them my Sil's texts they were surprised and appalled by her words. They thought this whole thing was a simple misunderstanding and now understand that it had become bigger and that my brother and I aren't talking. My sister decided to investigate and called my brother to understand what happened, and it turns out my Sil told him that my mum and siblings didn't check in on her at all, which is a lie. My sister even dropped off food for them twice, and that the kids were upset their dad left them and were throwing tantrums all the time, also probably not true, and that this wasn't what they had agreed on when he told her about the trip months ago. He was too busy trying to calm my Sil down to confirm with the family whether or not it was true. My sister then asked him if he'd seen the texts his wife had sent me, and he said he hadn't, but that Sil told him she just asked me for a simple thank you for all her hard work and that I blew up at her and told her she didn't deserve anything since she didn't pay for the trip and that she was entitled. He said he was hesitant about believing that since he knows I'd never outright disrespect someone like that even if I don't get along with them, but she insisted that it happened and that she had no reason to lie, and as her husband she needed his support not his questioning, and that's why he sent me the text saying I needed to thank her. My sister then let my brother know about everything that happened and told him, more like demanded, that they apologize to me, which I didn't think was necessary. I just wanted my brother to talk to me again, and he sounded upset and told her he'll figure this out after talking to his wife. Spoiler alert, it didn't go well. Sil and my brother had a massive fight and he demanded to know why she lied and caused so much drama, and she broke down and told him that he was too close to me and my siblings and that she hated how the whole family babied me, I'm the youngest, and that his siblings' relationship with each other made her uncomfortable and she just wanted him to put a little distance between himself and us because her family isn't as close to each other, and kept telling her our close dynamic is weird and toxic. He told her her behavior is unacceptable and that she caused a rift between not only him and I but also him and the rest of his siblings as well because now they're mad at him. My brother did call me and he apologized for doubling down on what his wife said. He said it was already tense in their house and he was just trying to keep the peace and be supportive, but he shouldn't have treated me this way when deep down he knew I wasn't at fault. He also let me know that for the time being Sil will go NC with my siblings and I while they go to marriage counseling, and Sil goes to therapy cause her behavior wasn't normal. He sounded exhausted and defeated, and I just told him we're all here for him if he needs us. He made it clear that the NC is only for my Sil and assured me he won't limit his contact with me, and apologized for doing so without even talking to me first. I asked him if he'd like me to reach out to her and apologize for what I said and give her a sincere thank you, but he said no, that it was never about the gratitude to begin with and that it's apparently a bigger issue between them that they need to figure out on their own, that we shouldn't contact Sil unless she reaches out first as she doesn't want to have any contact with us. He also apologized for her language with me on the texts, but I told him not to worry about it. Safe to say Sil's relationship with us is never going to be the same again after this, and to be honest I wasn't the biggest fan of hers, but I was civil and polite to her in the past cause my brother loves her and we've never had any issues prior to this. I do feel really guilty that all this happened because of the trip planned for me, but my siblings keep telling me it's not my fault. My mum says I should have just thanked my Sil and kept the peace instead of having this all blow up so much, but my siblings told her that even if I had apologized it wouldn't have mattered as my Sil would have found something else to cause a problem. But they also told me what a lot of you had mentioned in the comments, that saying thank you was the polite thing to do, and that taking care of kids full-time is not the same as babysitting them for a few hours, and it would have been good to tell her she's appreciated. But they understand that I don't have the understanding of what it means to be a parent, and that having someone basically verbally attack me wouldn't have made me reciprocate with kindness. And I get it, I was ignorant about it and I acknowledge that. There are a lot more details, but that's the gist of it. Brother and Sil's marriage is strained RN, and so is his relationship with us, but I hope that everything works out okay. I really love my brother and hate seeing him so defeated. Part of me wishes we never went on that trip because all this drama is draining. To clarify something, the only reason I was questioning the whole "I babysat my kids as a favor to you" is because I always see people criticizing fathers who say that and calling them out because kids are the parents' responsibility and not a chore or a favor for anyone. I thought this applied to both mothers and fathers, but perhaps I was mistaken because my only point of reference on this topic is what I see on the internet, as I'm not a mum. And since a lot of you have said I'm the AH and that she deserved a thank you and a gift, I messed up the thank you part, but I did buy her a magnet for their fridge since she likes to collect them. I went a little crazy and brought back little souvenirs for myself and everyone else as well, and it would have been weird and rude to give her kids gifts and not her, so I got every single family member a small Scottish-themed present. I was excited about being in Scotland, lol. Thank you all for your insights and advice. I really appreciate it, whether you thought I was or wasn't the AH. All your opinions put things into perspective for me. Some comments were outright nasty though, and I didn't think name-calling was productive or necessary, but oh well, that's the internet. Also, if you saw the OG post on some podcast sub, it's because my friend saw my post and told me to post it there cause she's a fan of them and thinks the podcasters would be entertained by it. I wasn't seeking out validation from a different sub, she was just excited by the idea that her favorite podcast might read out a post about someone she knows. She's weird, but I love her, so I did it, that's all.